Brought to you by Penguin.
Wedding Bells for Land Girls. Written by Jenny Holmes. Read by Janine Birkett. Chapter 1. "Hop up onto the pillion seat," Brenda Appleby told Una sharp. She kick-started old Sloper and felt the thrum of its engine beneath her. Una climbed on board. She and Brenda wore identical lilac dresses with frilled necklines and flared knee-length skirts. "Thank goodness it stopped raining." "Yes, what would Grace say if her bridesmaids turned up at the church looking like drowned rats?" Brenda eased the motorbike out of the stable yard onto the driveway of Fieldhead Hostel, just in time to spot their friend and fellow land girl Joyce Cutler carrying bridal bouquets through the front door. "Hello, Joyce! Who's getting spliced?" she called with a lively smile and an exaggerated wink. "Not me, worse luck." Joyce placed the 2 sprays of white carnations in the back of a green van, then glanced at her watch. "Shouldn't you 2 visions of loveliness be down at Burnside, helping the bride to get ready instead of wasting time talking to me?" "Don't worry, Sloper will get us there in 2 shakes." Brenda was confident of the bike's ability to transport them to the village on time. She and Una would sail along the winding lanes, ignoring barking dogs and avoiding puddles left by overnight rain. They would arrive with cheeks aglow and hair whipped back by the wind, and there would still be plenty of time to help Grace into her wedding dress, then tidy themselves up before all 3 made their grand entrance into St. Michael's Church. "Have you remembered your bridesmaid shoes?" Joyce noted that Brenda and Una wore sturdy brown lace-ups. "Here, in the panniers, with our headdresses and gloves." Una patted the canvas satchel strapped to the pillion seat. "Don't worry, Joyce. We'll make ourselves presentable as soon as we get there." Joyce smiled as she imagined the unusual spectacle of Grace Kershaw's 2 attendants, kitted out in their silk dresses, riding down the narrow main street and into the yard of the Blacksmith's Arms. Typical Brenda to buck the trend. "Just don't crash the darn thing," she called after them. "Hold tight, Una," Brenda warned. Una gave Joyce a wave, then followed instructions. "Ta-ta! We'll see you in church." And off they sped. Brenda crouched forward over the handlebars, boyish in spite of the frilled dress with her short, dark hair and tanned skin. Una was smaller and had a daintier look, dark auburn hair catching the sunlight, slim arms wrapped around Brenda's waist in anticipation of the twists and turns in the bumpy road. Joyce stood beside the van until the bike disappeared from view. She glanced down at her dark green jersey and corduroy breeches, half regretting the group's decision to attend Grace's wedding in full Land Army uniform. Yes, it would be satisfying to form a guard of honour up to the church door, and the girls would be happy to show their pride in serving king and country in wheat field and hay barn, hen house and milking parlour. And yet— Joyce brushed a stray piece of straw from her sleeve and straightened her tie. And yet, it would have been nice to have dressed up in her best frock and fashioned her long, thick brown hair into a French pleat. Nicer still to show off her shapely legs in her 1 remaining pair of nylon stockings and her high-heeled shoes. Brenda and Una soon left the hostel behind. It was 10 in the morning, and the sun was already warm on their faces. There was blue sky overhead and green fields to either side, rising steeply towards rocky horizons. The slopes were crisscrossed by low stone walls and dotted with grazing sheep. Nearer to the road stood tidy, well-kept barns housing hay, tractors and other farm machinery, next to solid houses with narrow windows and doors, where the inevitable dog strained at its long chain as the motorbike cruised by. "What's the betting that Grace is a bundle of nerves?" Brenda called over her shoulder as she slowed down for the junction that took them into Burnside.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?